Hello. Yay, I got on. My internet is down this morning. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes,
Can you
very
hear
good.
me?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any internet, so I'm using my hotspot on my phone and had to change rooms. Um, so here I am. Thank you. It's been a little crazy this morning trying to get on. Okay, this is not what I want. Okay, so I'm a little, let me take a drink, change my view so I can see everybody's faces who's here, or I guess mostly your photographs. Photographs of your faces. It'd be really nice to see you for real. Thank you. A couple of faces. There's Anna and Tung and Jolene and Berta, Maria, Anastasia. I thank you. Lovely to see you. And guess what we're going to do today? We are going to continue our death meditation. Is there anyone who has reviewed it or practiced it in the last month since we last met? Nobody? I hope you saw that, at least in the English channel, I don't know if it got translated. I did post that everyone could practice it. Yeah. So if you're interested in learning it, please take advantage of that and learn it slowly, piece by piece, because it's a long meditation. I can say from my own experience, when I first learned it, and I learned it over a period of 4 days. This, one day, second day, third day, 4 days. And we practiced it in between. So it was more like a retreat. And I think it's very, it can be quite gifting to practice this meditation. If any of you have done the five emptinesses meditation or um, what's Jason Kappa meditation, any of the meditations that have visualization in them, which really help to remind you of what concept you're trying to examine, right? They're really, really helpful in guiding you because you have something, you have a picture, an image to associate with the concept. And when those are together, then it helps you to focus on the concept and to think about it and to go into it much more deeply. So, guess what we're going to do? Before we learn the new part, we're going to review what we have already done. So, I need to switch here into share mode. And share. Can everybody see? Mm, looks like maybe not. Yes, I have a nod from Maria saying yes. Maybe my internet's a little slow because we're on a not very strong cell signal. So get yourselves comfortable. And we're going to review this meditation again as a meditation. Close your eyes. Place your shoulders on your back, opening your heart. Focus your breath on the tip of your nose. Let's try that again. Focus on the air at the tip of your nose, going out and coming back in. And because we're a little short of time, it keeps muting me and changing things. I'm sorry. Maybe this is our meditation today, our meditation on impermanence. So again, bring your attention to your nose. Feel the air going out and in. And set your motivation for learning this meditation this morning. We're going to not go through our normal 7 preliminaries because we're short of time. So let's go back to the beginning of our meditation. We were in a forest. We had a big backpack on, filled to the brim, quite heavy. Not only was it filled on the inside, but we also had stuff hanging off the outside, like our spare shoes, a water bottle, first aid kit, stuff like that. Get the picture clear. And this, of course, represents our life as it is now. And we've been in this thick forest, pushing through it, pushing through life, getting bumped and scratched and all sweaty and tired and stressed. And then finally, we come out of the forest and we come into a meadow, quite a large, cleared area. In front of us, there's a large castle. And in front of the castle, there's a lot of people milling around. There's tables laden with food and drink. And you are so tired and so hungry, and you are looking over towards those tables of food and drink, and you're like, oh, I want some, I need some now. So you go over there and you're trying to get to the table, and it's so crowded with people. They're pushing you, you're pushing them. They see you have an extra pair of shoes and they're grabbing your shoes off of your pack. And you're just fighting your way through, trying to get what you want and hurting people while you do it. This represents life as you will lead it if you don't meditate on death. You finally get something to eat, stuff it in your mouth, and get out of the crowd as quickly as you can. And as you are breaking out of the crowd, you begin throwing things off your pack. And you're heading towards the castle. There is a ditch with water in it around the castle called a moat in English. And there's a bridge over the moat. And as you go over the bridge, you are throwing things into the water. So think about what each of those things means for you. Try to pick at least one thing that you want to like get rid of in your life now. One possession or one relationship. Something that is not serving you at the moment. Getting rid of things that take up your time, that take your money, that take your concentration, your thoughts. And you're getting rid of them as you cross the bridge. This represents the benefits of meditating on death. Automatically, you want to get rid of those things which are not helping you in your life. You're getting lighter and lighter and not quite so focused on the stuff in your pack anymore because there isn't so much there. And you look up, and at the end of the bridge going to the castle, there are these big, terrible, fierce, ferocious soldiers. And they're holding swords and knives, and they do not want to let you in. And you're scared. They're so much bigger and fiercer, and they have weapons. You're scared of them. And this is the wrong kind of death meditation. This fear of death or of regretting death when it comes. Feeling like looking at death is a bad thing. And you get up all of your courage and you take a big breath. And because you're not weighed down by the things in your backpack anymore, in fact, you don't even have a backpack anymore. You run as hard and as fast as you can, and you break through that kind of concept. You break through those soldiers of death. And you come out into a meadow filled with little wildflowers blooming in amongst the grass. And you are feeling so light. And even the clothes on your body are as light as silk. And you are dancing across the field, happy and joyful, excited, vibrant. That's the real death meditation. This is what you want your death meditation to feel like. So now you've stripped your life down to the most holy, important, exciting practices you can do. And you're acting as if you were going to die tonight. And you have danced all the way across the meadow, and you're now in front of a large door going into the castle. I'll share with you a secret. There's a courtyard in the middle of the castle, and you're trying to reach a sunny, beautiful courtyard, but you're on the outside still, and you have to go through the building. So you come to this large yellow oak door representing the first of the great three divisions of death meditation. The first one is how certain it is that you're going to die. You reach for the handle of the door, you turn it, it opens very easily, and you go in. And immediately on your right is a huge, ferocious, violent animal chained to the wall. And this animal would like to do nothing better than to kill you. And these represents the seeds in your mind, represents your own death, which is unstoppable. So if you can't practice then, those seeds will kill you. And then next we went into a circular room, and there was a pedestal, and on top of this stand, this pedestal, was an hourglass. And you looked at it, and you remember that this hourglass represents that your life is constantly leaking away. And as you get older, it sure seems to be leaking away faster. And there's never a pause in that leaking away. And sooner or later, it will be empty. And then you start running down a darkened corridor. There are pictures of your teachers, pictures of the things they taught you. You are running by so quickly that you can hardly even see them or have time to remember what they taught you. You don't have time to practice it. Just like this meditation practice. You don't have time. You don't remember it. We just rush on to the next thing. We don't have time to stop and even take it in. And then you come to a green door at the end of that hall that you're running down. And it represents the fact that it's not sure when you will die. You come in, you look down to your right, and there, sitting on the floor, is a garbage can. You look in the garbage can, and it's empty except for a piece of paper with a big 75 printed on it. What was that supposed to remind me of? Do you remember? It represents the lie that there's an average lifespan. You might die tonight, tomorrow. You don't know. And then you begin to walk around the room and you see some familiar objects from your life. Your bed, a chair, a door, maybe a car, your house. Maybe there's stairs in your house. And each of these things have killed people, and they kill people every day. You're walking through and looking at them and thinking each one is like a time bomb. And you're wondering, which one will it be that will kill me? Maybe it's that piece of leftover pizza that I'm going to choke on, and it will kill me. So this reminds us that there's very few things to keep us alive and many things that can kill us. And then you move on towards the end of the room. And this room is kind of shaped like a triangle. And just before you reach the door, the red door on the wall, going to the next room, you step on a small splinter of wood from the floor. You stoop down and pick it out of your foot, and a little droplet of blood comes out. Wow, how fragile my body is. One little splinter or one little virus or one little mutation in our body, in our cell, can kill us. And looking up, you see the red door and you go through it, you open it and you go through it. And there's a long corridor with an arched ceiling, and it's made of glass. There are objects in the room. The sunlight is pouring in through frosty glass. There's like a frosty glass wall. And between the glass of the hallway and the glass of the outside wall are your friends and relatives. They're on both sides of you. And they're talking to each other and they're laughing. They're not thinking about you. And you're banging on the glass. You're kicking on the glass. You're saying, hello, hello, I'm here. But they can't hear you. When you die, you won't be able to take them with you. You won't be able to take your things, nor anyone with you. You see some of your things. Maybe you see your favorite photos or books, your AirPods, your cell phone. And they kind of look like they're a bit dusty and old, like you haven't used them for a while. And you're trying to reach them and you can't. And why is that? Because you're dead. You're already in the bardo. And you're frustrated and angry. You have no power of them, over them. And at the very end of this hallway, behind a glass to the right, is your own body, naked on its back. The face is featureless, and this represents that you'll lose even the body that you are taking so much care of, spending so much time and money to keep it healthy, to keep it dressed, to keep it fed, to keep it slept. And then it's worthless lying there. And you can't really remember who you were very clearly. You pass by your body. You're at the end of the hallway and there's a white door. It's big. It's set in the solid wall of stone. And this represents that you'll have to make a decision after this meditation. In fact, 3 decisions to be made. So you're looking at this door and you remember it means I'll have to make 3 decisions. You open the door. You're in a very small, round room. It's tall. It's like a tower going up. And there's slits for windows. And the sunlight is coming down into the room, into the center. And you see it shining there in the center of the room. But you're not in it yet. Looking around the room, on the left wall is leaning a long staff of wood, very strong one. The staff is a little taller than you. And when you reach out to hold it, it fits your hand perfectly. And it feels so familiar. You take it with your left hand, and this represents the first decision, which is if it's sure that I'm going to die, then I'm deciding to start my practice of thinking and acting as if I am going to die tonight. This is my decision to start planting seeds of goodness now, not waiting another moment. So taking the staff in your left hand, you take one step forward with your left foot towards that circle of sunlight. You lift the staff up and slam the bottom of the staff down on the ground, and you hear a sharp noise. That represents the second decision, which is to do it now. Then you step forward again with your left foot, and you're now standing in the middle of the sunlight. You take the staff up, you hold it in front of you up high with some kind of inner power. That represents the fact that if nothing else can help when I die, this is what I will do. This one practice of planting kindness in the world. Decide to concentrate on one thing, and that's your spiritual life. So holding the staff up high and looking up into the sun represents this is the one thing I will do with my life now. I'll cut away the useless things I do. I will even cut away the practices I do, which are not very powerful, not likely to get me enlightened quickly. And you're holding the staff up high, deciding to concentrate only on your practice and only those practices which are the most powerful that you can do. And then you look to the right, and there's a door of royal blue, this strong blue color. You turn your heads toward the right, just looking, not moving your body. And you bring the staff down into your right arm and point it at the door. And that'll be the door of your practice. And that's the practice that we're going to do. We're going to talk about that next. So come back to your breath. Back to the room that you're in. 3 long exhales. Open your eyes and stretch. Have a drink of water. That's pretty amazing. That's the meditation that we have done up till now. So we left off with holding the staff in our hand, and you held it up and said, one practice. Given that only good seeds are going to help me, I will concentrate on planting good seeds. How? By being kind to myself and others. And then you pointed the staff at the blue door. And the blue door represents a really special practice called exchanging self and others. There are different levels of it. The first level, when you hear the word exchange yourself and others, you think like putting yourself in the other person's shoes. So we talked about getting rid of people and relationships and activities, but what are we supposed to replace it with? Part of it is more time at home for practice. More important is the practice, the holiest practice that you can imagine. So if you're going to die tonight, exchanging self and others is the greatest kindness and holiest practice you could ever do. And you don't have to be sitting on your cushion. In fact, that probably works better if you're not. You can do it at work, when you're out shopping, when you're with your family, with the person who you're not getting on with very well. So this is not a practice we do in our minds, right? This is something we do around other people. You know, if we didn't have other people around, then we couldn't do this practice. And they are more valuable to us than any kind of magic lamp or magic jewel that could give us our wishes. Because we don't really know what to wish for. But the people around us give us an opportunity to plant the most powerful good seeds. when we treat them like ourselves. So, on the most basic level, exchanging self and others is to put yourself in their place in the sense of what do they want right now? You follow their eyes, you see what they like. So at this level, we're talking about observing them. What do they want? What are they attracted to? And you figure it out. What kind of cereal they like most? And you buy that. You have it in the house. You figure out what they like to drink. And it's on the table in front of them before they even ask for it. And so you get better and better at anticipating their wishes. You know 3 minutes ahead of them what they want, and you're already setting it up for them. So you want to know what the holiest thing to do in your life is if you're going to die tonight? This is it. So that's on the physical level. Then there's the mental level. What's going to make this person happy right now? What do they want me to talk about? Or would they want to talk? Are they having some problem at work that I could talk to them about? Do they have a family problem? Would they most enjoy at this moment to hear me talk about that with them? Or would they like to hear about some adventure? Do they want to hear about me? Or do they want to talk about their adventure? So you go through this first through the level of physical comfort, meaning food and drink, stuff like that. And you take care of them that way. And then you move up to the emotional needs. And you do it so they don't ever know that you're doing it. It's a secret practice. And so we've done the physical and then the mental, and then the third level is their spiritual need. You figure out ways to give them what they need spiritually, just when they need it, just what they need it, and at the moment that they need it. And you're supplying it to them transparently as possible. You just kind of mention something that's going to be of spiritual benefit to them. Not like directly, necessarily. So you think about, let's take an example like in my room right now, maybe in yours too. It's like if someone were to come in here, it's like, would they find it cold? I'm finding it a little cold, but maybe they like cold. I know that person usually is very hot, so they would probably like it cold in here. So you think about what they would like, and you prepare. I would prepare this room before they even get here for them. And they never know that you've prepared it for them. So which level is that? That's the first level, physical needs. And then you're talking about what they'd like to talk about. You're calling them. And when they like to get called, you know, like I have a date with somebody on Sunday afternoons and they're waiting for me to call them. Things like that, transparently. They're not aware that you're sitting at home thinking about what would they like me to share with them today. And then we move up to this spiritual needs when it's proper, when it's appropriate. And you suggest something to them like how it's been cool about learning about this thing called seeds. Do you know I've been doing this thing with seeds and how it's changed my life? Would you like to hear about that? You know, what is the most beneficial for them at the moment? So these are the sorts of beginning things to do. But you might be aware that there's still a distinction between you and them. And that's what makes it basic. You're still thinking, I'm me, them's them, I want what I want, they want what they want. But I'll give them what they want first. You're thinking, they're them, I'm me, and I'm giving up what I want so they can have what they want. So that's level one. What's the next level? You're actually switching over to their eyes and looking at things in their body. What does that mean? Instead of sitting in your body and trying to imagine what they want, you actually imagine, you meditate on being inside of them. Inside of their head, inside of their body, rather than me trying to think what you might want. And me sitting here and Berta sitting there. Right? Now I'm sitting there in Berta, looking at me. So you're actually imagining you're in their body and you are watching you. And you're trying to think how they think rather than trying to guess how they think. And this is a very important practice, in fact, for a teacher on Zoom. Who has to gauge how their interpreters are able to interpret what they're saying. Right? I have to be inside of Mia or Berta's mind and make sure I'm not going too fast. Right? So the ultimate level, number 3, this is where you seek to remove the distinction between you and me, and you become one person, expanding of the sense of me to include you. You become me, and me becomes you. So the highest form of this practice actually is when you give them what they like to eat. You're giving at the first level, right? But this is the third level at using the physical level. You are giving you what you like to eat because you're expanding your sense of yourself to include the other, in quotes. And we're going to go a little bit longer here, finish this class because we started late. In ancient India, there was this sage, his name was Master Shantideva, and he goes into this practice. He raises all of these objections to thinking like, how can I be you? We're not going to go into all of his objections, but the main thing he says is this. Your conception of who you are is, first of all, largely visually oriented, like so many things in life. 90% of how we define ourselves is visual. My skin stops here, and their skin starts there. Therefore, we're different. She's not me. She's her. I'm me. And Master Shantideva says, no way. That's not correct. Even though they are many different parts, we still conceive of them. Even though we have many different parts as well, we still conceive of them as one body belonging to one person, right? Our own body. It has different parts, hands, arms, head, torso. They belong to me. And there's something we should care for, right? As we care for our whole body. And the same is true of the other person. So we should work to assure their happiness and remove their suffering. The happiness and suffering of each and every type of being. Because just like we think of my hand, we can think of them as me. They're just parts. And we choose to bunch them together. Or you could say we're forced by our seeds to bunch them together to say, this one is Anastasia. This one is Berta. This one is Natasha, right? But it's all because our eyes are forcing us to see it that way. And just like we have a hand that we say, it's my hand, we can extend that to beings that appear to be outside of us. Not going to go too deeply into this today because we could spend a whole hour talking about it, a whole another hour. And Master Shantideva, he also notes the fact that we find our own pain unbearable, and that that is simply the result of this habit that we have of how we think of ourselves. So even though Berta, I say Berta because she's right here in front of me on my screen, even though her pains don't touch me directly, we have the ability to feel that the pains of all beings are unbearable if we learn to think about them as me, as ourselves. Our boundaries self-existent? No, they're concepts. And we have the power to say my boundary of unacceptable pain will extend to another, right? As a mother, it extends to our child, right? Their pain, our child's pain, is unacceptable. Is the pain of somebody else's child unacceptable? He says this boundary that we create is totally arbitrary. What if somebody were to take your phone and start throwing it down on the ground? You'd get angry, right? Because your sense of me extends to your phone. My phone, my computer, right? And he says, don't tell me you can't do it when you want to. Extend your sense of self. But when my friend stubs their toe, I don't feel it. And he says it's just a choice. When your child stubs their toe, do you feel it? Yeah, on some level, you sure do. And you do something about it. So you choose to extend me to your child. And then he continues, if someone claims that they need to remove the pain of others, since they cannot feel that pain directly, then we should never take steps in the present time to care for our future selves. Why? Because we can't feel that pain directly at this time. You know, at least in most cultures, you try to put away some retirement money for when you get older. And that person is essentially someone different from us. Or we plan in the morning what we're going to do in the evening, or avoid a problem later on, or we also avoid bad deeds for the sake of who we how we want our world to be tomorrow, right? for some being that doesn't exist yet. So he's trying to point out to us that it's just a choice. It's a conceptual choice. This sense of me. And then he says, really, why is it wrong for us to just work for our own happiness and to remove our own suffering? And he says, we're no different from each other. Every one of us wants happiness. And every one of us wants to avoid suffering. So, if that is true, which it appears to be, right? There's no logic to work to achieve only my happiness and to avoid only my suffering. And then he says, when we come to see others as ourselves, then we won't find it amazing or find any reason for conceit when we care for them. A person doesn't congratulate himself for feeding herself her own supper. So this is the practice of Dakshin Namjed in the West Chinese language. Let's go back to that picture just for a moment, of seeing yourself in the other. There is no difference. We're not suggesting that the mind streams are the same. If that mind stream out there, Verita's mind stream, does good deeds, then that mind stream's going to get itself enlightened. If this mind stream does good deeds, this mind stream gets enlightened. There is a distinction like that. This practice is super important for getting enlightened, for going beyond death. That's why we're talking about it. So it's not only the right thing to do, it's the holiest and the smartest. If you're going to die tonight, you may have to spend the last day of your life at work, but you'll be breaking down the distinction between you and me, because that's the holiest thing you can do. And this is where your death meditation needs to go to at some point. Do everything you ever wanted to do. Apologize to that person you really wanted to apologize to, but were too embarrassed. Then do this practice. Exchange yourself and others. So again, we first started talking about getting rid of stuff. Now we're talking about getting rid of an attitude that we have. It's much harder than the stuff. That's why we start with the stuff first. It's holier and it's much more powerful. So can you, on your last day of your life, and we don't know when that's going to be, do the holiest thing possible, which is to extend the self to include other people so they become you. Cool? Now I want to go into gallery view, see all of you guys. So I don't know how much of this you got. I kept getting notices that my internet was unstable. Don't know how choppy it was. Maybe, maybe you can tell me in the chat whether it held together. I'm seeing hearts and things, so I'm thinking that's probably true. So Berta's saying yes. Thank you. So I want to plant one little seed, which is to learn this meditation. Maybe you can make your own pictures or draw pictures that remind you of each of the steps. And you can look at them and you go, oh, yeah, that's that one. And so it will help you in learning this meditation. Again, it should be, even if it's in English, the meditation up until last time, not the piece that we added today with the staff, should be in the Telegram groups. You can run it through Google Translate for your own language if it's not already done. And I'm hoping that in our next class, we will do the last part of this meditation and we can wrap it all up. So this little art project, you could do it on the computer, you can do it by hand, to create images that will help you to remember this meditation. This is called a mandala. That's what a mandala is for. It's a picture, it can be a picture of a world, right? And each of those pictures is symbolic of a concept, of an idea that you're trying to plant in your mind. Provide the Telegram group link. There are different groups for each language. Maybe Ludmilla, if she is here, can provide that. Let me see if I can go in Blue Sky Friends. I'm not very good at this. I don't know links. Oh, not that one. Just showing me links, the Zoom meeting. Somebody who is more conversant in this than me. I'm not very good at this stuff. Elena is asking for it in general. Let's see. What's the link to this group? How do I find that? General. Here it is. Oh, I want to copy it. Oh, looks like Natasha has already put it in there. That's to the general group, the one I just posted. And I think if you have the general group you have access to the other ones, but I'm not sure. I just teach. This tech stuff is, I like someone else to do it. So thank you. Sorry we went a little longer today. Sorry for my internet. I have to say it's not under my control, but it's obviously is because it's my seeds and your seeds to have it not function as smoothly as we would like. So let's improve our communication with each other. And we'll continue this the first Friday in March. So you get some good time to practice. And next Friday, Anjali will be here teaching you a class about teaching you about, I don't know what the specific sub piece will be, but working with people who are going through transition and might be struggling or have some grief and for yourself or for others. And so she will be here next Friday. And then the Friday after that will be Ellie, and she will be teaching a class too. So thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out here a little longer. And I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
До свидания. Thank you very much, Yelsey. Thank you so much. We love you very much. Можете включить микрофон и сказать по-русски на своем языке.